Switching this one thing liberated me from being stuck in my life. I let go of the victim mindset and took control of my life. And I want to show you that you can too, no matter where you are in your life. It can be hard for me to share parts of my story, but I want to in case it can help someone. For legal reasons, I can't share all the details, but I can share some. I remember laying on the floor, bleeding, and feeling the most alone I've ever felt in my life. You see, on the surface, it seemed like I had a great life. I had plenty of good friends, an amazing community, a respectable job as a middle manager, and some family that loved me. The problem was that I ended up stuck in a really dark place where no one in that community knew anything about the dark things I was experiencing. I fell for the lie that as a man, I had to deal with my own things all on my own. I could speak to God about the things I was going through, but I wasn't even sure anyone else would believe me if I shared it with them. I barely believed it. At the time, I was so proud of the many things I had done up into my late 20s that I was really proud of. I was a homeowner, had already accomplished some renovations, was quickly climbing up the corporate ladder, and I was even married. After experiencing a few betrayals, then followed by the situations that left me physically hurt and hiding my cuts and bruises, I felt completely powerless. I felt like such a loser. My life wasn't in order, and I was living to keep up with the appearances of what I thought people wanted my life to look like. But it felt like a house of cards. In my heart, I knew I was made for more. I knew I had to take the reins of my life and build a life where I didn't have to keep secrets. At the time, I was only partially connected to meaning in my life. I knew I wasn't even trying to build in the places where I could build. Then I made the decision to take control, no longer be the victim. I started to rebuild my life brick by brick. Through injuries, starting over financially completely, starting to work out again after years of being sedentary, getting through a divorce and an annulment, rebuilding my community, and moving a few times. My gifts had been buried for too long, and I decided to invest in myself. It took a lot of creativity to rebuild my finances, reframe who I was in my career, and go all in on my healing and growth. Not everyone in my life was a fan, but I knew that the people who mattered and cared enough would stay. I started to expand how I worked with people as a manager. And one of the most shocking things to me was how many people I was working with that had never had someone truly care and invest into their career. It was as if their career and their purpose was somehow disposable and not an essential part of their life. As I kept building, I kept running into barriers where organizations didn't truly understand how to invest in meaningful ways into their people. As I was going through therapy for several years, I knew it helped me, but I knew that people needed something different, something that was a little more tangible and specific to their situation. They needed solutions to the concerns I kept seeing in their lives. I started to realize that it was as if people saw a regular paycheck and benefits as the pinnacle of a career, as if work didn't really affect the rest of our lives. I saw the problem clearly, but at the time I had no idea how to solve it. I found some mentors and then started to research ways to help people in more practical ways. I kept building my own tools and working on as many ways as I could to help as many people as I could. Then I was convinced that I needed to get certification to be able to do coaching well and hopefully not mess up things in the places I wasn't experienced in. It was quite the risk. I took on probably more financial responsibility than was prudent at the time. And getting through school made me spend every extra hour I had reading, writing, and doing everything I could to develop the skills I needed as a coach. I almost gave up because I felt like it demanded possibly more than I had to give at the time. Through these years of investment, I was able to accomplish a lot of the things on my vision board. I became a director at a consultancy, which is part of my vision. I paid off my student loans. Over 15 years after I graduated from undergrad, I bought a new home, and over 4 of those years, I more than doubled my income and salary. Then later, I finally finished my life coach certification. Investing in myself was the most powerful thing I could do. I was able to prove to myself that I was worthy. I built confidence by proving to myself that I was able to handle all that I went through, and that I survived. You see, I became so lost after the betrayals that I became convinced that taking my own life was the only solution and the only way out of my problems. Despair was so blinding. I thank God for bringing me out of that darkness, and I'm grateful that it never went past ideation. I'm so grateful for all the help I received in that time. Despair was a powerful negative force in my life when I owned the victim mindset. Now, I embrace the philosophy of amor fati, that life doesn't happen to me, rather but for me, that I love my fate, that built this grit and strengthened my weaknesses. My hope comes from a power greater than myself, and I only do it a disservice by believing the lies of despair. Now, I'm on a mission to live my own particular purpose by empowering everyone that I can to live in their purpose. I'm convinced that living a life connected to our purpose and meaning is going to allow us to live in the most authentic way and the most efficient way to a flourishing life. However you've struggled, it doesn't matter. I want to remind you that there is hope, that you can change your circumstances, that you can take control of your life. Sometimes all we need is a little help, and I'm here to help you. I wish you all the best. Follow me to learn more about this journey on how I have come to understand my own purpose more clearly and how I help people and my clients reach more satisfaction by living their own purpose.